very soon, I will be retiring peacefully to start working as a social entrepreneur. Social entrepreneurship is an approach by individuals, groups, startup companies, or entrepreneurs in which they develop, fund, and implement solutions to social, cultural, or environmental issues.
Your teacher, Michael Aidera from Nairobi, Kenya.
Jina langu ni Kiswate, mwenza wa Bwana Michael Aidera. Nina furaha sana kujitolea kama mmoja wa walimu katika mradi huu wa Kiswahili.
Allow me to say that I'm Richard Bonyo, a graduate of Kenyatta University Business Geography and a practicing project management expert for the last 19 years. I was approached by Kiswate Digital Academy to be helping them in writing proposals that meets their criteria and also that addresses our Kenyan policy landscape or needs. In this particular meeting, we are so concerned about schools' digitization of learning. Teachers, as you're aware, all of us here, I'm a board member of many schools, we are suffering from shortage of teachers. And in most cases, sometimes, we also experience absenteeism due to unforeseen challenges, maybe through industrial actions or sickness of a teacher or bereavement and etc. And the Kenya government, through the ICT policy in education 2021 and revised 2024, saw it wise that schools will be digitized so that learning can take place in an hybrid manner, whether physical or through digital learning platforms. And Safaricom Foundation, through a project that they have christened M-Pesa Foundation Citizens of the Future project, has now come up with a program. Actually, this is a very big program of 30 billion Kenya shillings over the next 5 years to do 3 things. Number 1, to develop digital infrastructure in our schools. And number 2, to promote digital literacy. And number 3, to offer scholarships across all levels of education to enable learners and teachers to pursue digital skills in various levels. This program is anchored on what Kiswate is anchored on, that is inclusivity, equity, technology, community engagement, strong partnerships, and policy advocacy to create lasting impact and empower tomorrow's citizens. Now, back to why we are in this meeting, ladies and gentlemen, you are all aware that Kiswate has struggled a lot. In fact, if you go to Kiswate's website, you can see that one man, Pius Odhiambo, had a dream and still has a dream to make sure that no Kenyan child is left behind, maybe because of poverty, location, or otherwise, not to access education that is quality, timely, and uninterrupted. This is a person that is actually craving for a Kenyan child that is able to enjoy learning that is equitable, learning that is justifiable, that meets the threshold of what is called curriculum content delivery. Now, to this end, Pius through Kiswate and his colleagues like Mr. John Yeo, who is present here, they have walked around the country, they have done mapping of schools, and they have come up with a damning kind of a finding that most of our schools are not digitalized. And if they are digitalized, then there's no capacity to use digital systems to deliver teaching and learning. To this end, as Kiswate, we looked at the policy framework, both of the national government and also the corporate landscape. And the most important finding in this case is that Safaricom, being a tech-savvy company, has seen far and wide that for them to solve the Kenya's problem of absenteeism in class and how it affects learning, for them to address what is called imbalanced pedagogical approaches to teaching and learning, they must use what is called digital learning platforms. And this is what they're calling citizens of the future. Now, how do you come into this project? Ladies and gentlemen, let me say that to benefit from this, you need to do one thing first. There's a link that I think by now Josephine has shared with all of us who are in this meeting called citizensofthefuture.org. Each school that is present here and not present here, if possible, let them fill that form. It's just a 5-minute process. Fill that form and submit. But remember to include your photos of your school, most of the gate, where the signpost of the school is, and you have available infrastructure. And if you can have the student learning in a computer lab, which is not fully developed, also put those photos as you are guided in the website. Now, for us to succeed, this is a hint I want to give us, Mr. Pius and Mr. Hendera and Mr. Yuya, that for us to succeed, unity is strength. when we submit a formidable proposal, a bankable proposal that says that the following number of schools are digitally thirsty, digitally ready, and yearning to go digital, and they have submitted their expressions of interest through board resolutions, which is minuted and signed by the board chair, secretary, and at least a member of the board that constitutes the executive or the full board. And this is attached to our application that we are processing now, developing now. Then the next phase of this project will come alive unto us. The next phase is called infrastructure development. Ladies and gentlemen, this kind of funding may be given to you as an individual school, but chances are almost 0% because 600 schools out of how many schools in Kenya? Over 10,000 schools. There'll be tight competition, but when a company like Kiswate gives a composite proposal that is justified, like we have done here in our proposal, then be rest assured that they'll fund Kiswate to implement this program in the selected schools that Kiswate works with. Now, you are called here to be, first of all, be briefed about the proposal you have developed, and the proposal has been shared by Josephine, but I can take you through it very quickly. This proposal is addressed to Safaricom Foundation, M-Pesa Foundation, Citizens of the Future project, and it is entitled Proposal for the Establishment of Kiswate Digital Learning and Training Center, DLTC, at Kiswate Adopted Schools. We will provide the list as an annex, and we shall describe these schools individually based on their submissions. This proposal has a composite budget of 75 million. What will this budget do? That's the question that any of us here can be keen to understand. This budget is supposed to help us develop, deliver, and disseminate digital lessons effectively. Number two, to create and establish an e-library in our resource centers. Number three is to train our teachers to become digitally oriented in STEM, Kiswahili, and English. And number four is to develop curriculum, develop and implement curriculum developers workshops on e-content creation that is aligned fully to the competency-based curriculum. Now, in particular, what does this project intend to do? When you join us as a partner through which and with whom we can submit a proposal, we have got what is called specific deliverables or specific objectives. And the first one of them all is to establish a fully functional digital learning and training center with 100% uptime. Uptime means there's no time you say that you can't use the digital resources because of lack of power or lack of what? Internet. Whichever way, these centers will be up and running. When you go through the proposal, we have labored through research, wide research in Kenya and abroad, to understand how to make these places 100% uptime. Number two, we shall deliver digital lessons to 15 partner schools, which are going to reduce to the number of schools that have met the onboarding criteria. And onboarding criteria means you have a board resolution, that is board minutes, that allows Kiswate to work with you to set up a Kiswate Digital Learning Center in your school. Number two, you have a letter of authority that allows you, that permits Kiswate to work with you to institute this project. And number three, you are technically savvy. Ready. Ready means you are yearning to embrace hybrid teaching method. Hybrid means you can use physical method, but more or less go digital. Number three, this proposal seeks to train 120 teachers in these adopted schools. Why 120 teachers? Initially, we're talking about 15 schools, and assuming that 15 schools with the three pathways, each pathway will have at least 2 teachers trained on digital teaching, digital learning, digital revision, digital content creation, and etc. So when these ones are trained, they'll become trainers of trainers. The fourth specific objective is that if you look at the CBE curriculum, it has got 3 pathways, and in the pathways, there are several subject combinations, which all schools here must by now have selected their subject clusters within the pathways they're going to pursue. Schools pursuing STEM, for example, by now they shall have selected their subject combinations. Now, based on those combinations, we will produce 500 e-library resources that include videos, PDFs, interactive quizzes, and the like. That is fully aligned to the CBE curriculum for the STEM, Swahili, and English. And STEM, as you know, it means science, technology, maths and engineering subjects, and you understand them. The last specific objective is to ensure sustainability through local capacity and revenue services. Now, teachers, we are in this meeting, our CEO, John Yoya, there is an impact we want to achieve by bringing schools together to approach Safaricom. I hope you're getting me, ladies and gentlemen. There's an impact we want to achieve, and this impact is our selling point that we shall take to Safaricom and its partners. And the impact is to directly translate our objectives into measurable outcomes, which include number of students that demonstrate digital skills proficiency, and the number of students that now report increased performance because of not missing lessons or not being taught what they should have been taught due to teacher unpreparedness or lack of learning resources, and the number of teachers who can now perfectly deliver ICT enhanced lessons in all their adopted schools, and community workshops that are conducted, because even the community will need them to use digital resources, like in their business. They want to train the community members in these our centers how to imbue digital resources in normal daily life of their businesses. And last but not least, we want to use these our premises as teacher training centers, what we call the in-service teacher training centers, where the teachers can come from all over the country or the neighborhood of the schools to come and get trained on digital teaching and learning systems. Having said that, we are proposing that teachers in our schools, first and foremost, fill online. This is what you can even do now as we are talking. Fill online the Citizen of the Future nominated school form, which is available online. After you fill that, prepare board minutes and resolutions that allows Kiswate to babysit you through this process, because this process is technically heavy. If you go to the proposal, it's technically heavy, requires a lot of technical inputs. And once you have done the board resolutions and you have given us permission to work with the school, allow us through a letter to include your name in this bid. I call it a bid because we are telling Safaricom, we are the company that can work with these schools until they are technically embedded. Now, in our budget, we have got categories in the budget which constitute that 75 million she's talking about. One, if you look at the Safaricom Foundation pillars, the 3 pillars I stated in the beginning, there is something called infrastructure development. This infrastructure development, in our case, it is a model digital learning and training center. We shall put them in every school we are going to work with, digital learning and training centers. In these centers, we'll employ a project manager full-time to work with the schools to ensure that all the program activities are implemented, monitored, evaluated, and impact assessed. Number 2, Kiswate will employ project coordinator, because you're working with many schools across Kenya. There must be a coordinator who will coordinate all our project-related activities, which already is covered in the proposal I've talked about. Number 3, there'll be a finance stroke admin officer whose main work is to work with Safaricom Foundation as a funder to make sure that all our finances are accounted for, reports generated and submitted in good time. There'll be an M&E officer who will track performance that goes around these our schools to monitor progress and to ensure that our staff are able to access project sites. The third component of the budget is the training of the first cohort of 200 teachers, digital teachers, which is a 5-day intensive workshop, and we'll be teaching the teachers on how to develop and use digital content. The fourth element of the budget is the training of the first cohort of 7,500 learners as digital learners. This means we come to a school, we tell the children how to log in, log out of classroom, how to use the Kiswate digital register to track their attendance of lessons, track when they come in, when they go out of the classes, and you can develop reports of school performance in real time. Now, we shall train these learners to become digital learners who can effectively use digital tools and platforms to learn and to perform well in their classes. The next element of the budget is what is called consultancy services. Remember, we are going to build classrooms that are engineered to be ICT hubs. They're not like normal classrooms. They have various things we consider for safety and for health, which these engineers will put into place. There'll be BQs being developed by quantity surveyors. There'll be ICT experts working on connections and interconnections within schools and from schools to other places that we need to suit our lessons to. So all these, we call them consulting services. They'll do needs analysis, they'll do curriculum mapping, they'll do content creation, they'll do multimedia production, lab kit designs and licensing and distribution, etc. The next element of the budget is project monitoring and evaluation and audit, which I've mentioned the role of the M&D officer up there. This project being funded by Safaricom Foundation, which is an NGO part of Safaricom, they need what is called value for money. If they give you money, it's a ceiling for impact, To get this impact, M&D function is very important. At the end of the day, end of the project, we have to do audit to confirm that we complied with all financial expenditure framework of Safaricom and the Kenya government and do audit report. Last but not least, in the budget, which constitutes 75 million, is the contingency and provisional sums, which is 5% of the full budget. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without taking you through this proposal, which is 9 pages, it's a very brief one for now, I want to appeal to us. Pius has spoke to us before the meeting began that Mr. Hendera has to work with all of you to make sure that we comply with the onboarding criteria, which I've summarized. Number one, there must be a board resolution that the school A is willing to partner with Kiswate Digital Academy to digitize the school. Number B, there has to be a letter of commitment or letter of authority from the board of management that authorizes Kiswate to work with your school to digitize it. And number 3, there must be this form I've said before, the one for the Citizen of the Future form in the Safaricom website, that you feel prior to this application that you are willing to be nominated to be digitized. When those 3 have been done and the evidence is available, your name will be included in this proposal and we shall revise it accordingly. Because now I'm working with tentative numbers, 120 teachers, 7,500 learners. When I have put your name in the proposal, I'll ask you for your enrollment record as at December 31st. That enrollment record will help me revise the budget either downwards or upwards based on the actual number of students in your school. Number 2, I'll ask you or your staff roll, staff register, to know how many staffs in your school that will handle STEM, English, and Swahili. When I get this data, then even the number of teachers to be trained will automatically be based on evidence. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. If there's a question, I'll be proud to answer it.
The Kiswate Digital Academy, founded by Pius Odhiambo, is a groundbreaking digital platform aimed at fostering the African Renaissance in the education sector. Specifically tailored for Kenya, the Academy addresses critical challenges in the implementation of the competency-based curriculum CBC for grades 7 through 12 in both junior and secondary schools. Key issues it seeks to resolve include 1. Access to educational materials. Many students lack textbooks in certain thematic areas, and where available, these resources are often prohibitively expensive. School calendar disruptions. Unforeseen events such as illnesses, pandemics, for example the COVID-19, school strikes, and natural disasters like floods frequently disrupt the academic calendar. 3. Data-driven decision-making. There is a notable absence of reliable online attendance and learning data, which is crucial for informed decision-making in curriculum implementation. Pius Odhiambo, the visionary behind Kiswate, is a trained science teacher and an award-winning data scientist, a philanthropist based in the Washington, D.C., United States of America. His contributions have earned him a place on the Marquis Who Is Who in America, highlighting his international recognition and impact.
Very soon, I will be retiring peacefully to start working as a social entrepreneur. Social entrepreneurship is an approach by individuals, groups, startup companies, or entrepreneurs in which they develop, fund, and implement solutions to social, cultural, or environmental issues.
The Kiswate Digital Academy is structured around 3 course components. Digital library. This will provide students and teachers with access to a vast array of digital textbooks and educational resources online, ensuring that learning materials are both accessible and affordable. 2. Learning management system LMS. This system will enable teachers to conduct remote lessons and allows school principals to recruit emergency or substitute teachers from a distance. It will also facilitate continuous learning for students regardless of physical location. 3 scholarship system. This component will offer financial support to deserving students, ensuring that economic barriers do not hinder access to quality education. By leveraging these components, Kiswate Digital Academy aims to create a resilient and flexible educational environment. Students will have uninterrupted access to digital textbooks and teachers, while educators will be equipped with the tools needed for effective and remote teaching. This initiative not only addresses immediate educational challenges but also lays the foundation for a more robust and adaptable education system in Kenya, capable of withstanding future disruptions and fostering long-term academic success.